Hey guys, welcome back to another video. We're going to talk a little bit about Koloamatangi here, what I'd be targeting in a trade for him, talk about my current trade plans, how I'm going to navigate through this round. But I'll be honest, it's a bit of a nothing video. Don't really have much planned. I just thought some content's better than nothing. But obviously Koloamatangi is going to be a pretty big talking point. So yeah, just wanted to jump on here and talk about him. I'll probably go through my buy planner and stuff like that, but we'll see where the wind takes us, hey? So yeah, Koloamatangi, first cab off the rank. We think at this stage, he's gone for 3 to 5 weeks. In almost every team scenario, that will be a trade. The only exception is probably if you have less than the average trades, which is 7.7 currently, and you've already traded Cleary and Haas. Because that means you have Cleary, Haas, most likely Yo, because he's 5% owned, and then Koloamatangi to bring back in as bona fide keepers that you need, that you're going to have to make another 4 trades at least just to get him in, assuming you have the money, which you won't, because Koloamatangi is not like a Payne Haas where he's pretty clearly going to lose some money. He's coming off a 65. He got injured at the end of the game. His break even still, that's before this round. He got a 65. His break even still 45. So assuming he comes back into his normal role, he's still going to be making money. He's going to be really tough to bring back in, but given he's out for at least 3 weeks, in most scenarios, you do have to trade him. So I got him up here. If he misses 3 weeks, that's Melbourne, Dolphins, Manly, and then they have a bye. So I would be truly shocked with the news we have now that he's back before the bye. There's no point rushing him back for that game when they know they have a bye. So I'd say 99% based on the current news, he misses round 19 at a minimum and then is back round 20. And I'd say pretty comfortably he would be back in round 20 unless there was any delays. But not before then, which makes him super valuable to sell. He's at a really good price point. So you can't really navigate through this period without trading him. So in most scenarios, you will be trading him. That's pretty much a no-brainer. Most people will be of that thinking. But it needs to be said, I think. This is a massive win if you have kept Haas, because now you have another mid. Obviously you were trading Haas to use his money to navigate through the period when he does miss a few games, but he becomes infinitely more valuable now that you've lost someone like Koloamatangi, who was going to be such a big enabler from round 15 to round 18. So massive win if you kept Haas. I think it was about 15% sold last week and then roughly the same before that. Let's check his ownership now. If you kept him, massive win. Obviously, we didn't know that news was coming, it's nothing that could have been prepared. 80%, I think it's actually lower than that. We'll have to see. Without even stepping on the park, assuming he plays this week, it is a big win. And also Hosking. If you kept on to Hosking, that is also a big win. For my team specifically, it works out. It couldn't not have worked out better. I talked about it in my last video before we knew about the Koloamatangi news. I was in a bit of a vulnerable position. I want Jerome Hughes this week, almost definitely, and I have no one to trade for him. Obviously, Tamale needs to go, but I didn't have the money to get up there. I needed another 30K, so Hosking probably would have been gone, but I needed him as a loop option before deciding what to do with Haas. The other option was probably Hines, which I didn't want to sell, but it would have had to come to fruition if I wanted Jerome Hughes. So super lucky. Obviously, I hope Koloamatangi's okay, but we're just purely talking from a fantasy perspective. Could not have worked out better for me. So this round, Haas just comes straight in for Koloamatangi. That's good. Really good. It makes him so much more valuable. And round 18, I didn't actually need Hosking going into that round, barring injuries, and now we've had one to a mid. So Koloamatangi is gone. Hosking just comes in there and Couch moves up to mid. So in my team, it's the dream scenario. When you're in a situation where you have more trades than the average, you kind of want to bring on the chaos for players that are 80, 90% owned. If you're in that position where you have more trades, the more players that are out is actually infinitely more beneficial to you. That is a forced trade that almost every team is going to have to make now. And it's 90% owned, so it's not like anyone doesn't have him. What is actually his ownership? It's got to be close to that. Oh, 100%. Awesome. So 96, 91%. So everyone has him, but it's really good. If you're low on trades, this is worst case scenario pretty much. People are going to be forced into trades. And it was looking like a really good week to hold trades. Jerome Hughes is probably the only one on the board that is super appetizing this week. Obviously, Reece Walsh is a potential one, but most people picked up, not most, but like 20% of people picked up Turbo last week. Like they picked up the Teddies, stuff like that. Drinkwaters, they were all really highly owned, so you don't actually need to pick up anyone else like Reece Walsh. So yeah, Jerome Hughes was really the only one, and most people are fielding 13 this week anyway. What I would do with Koloamatangi, I wouldn't have a trade for him at the start of the round if you are trading him. They play in the fourth game, so have a few candidates in mind. So if you want Jerome Hughes, perfect. Like you can comfortably do that. They play in the same game. If you want, I don't know, like a Herbie Farnworth or something, that's chill. Like whoever you want, just have a list of like 3 to 4 that work with your buy schedule. So if you need players in round 18, round 19, just try and pick them up. They're the two hardest rounds now. We should all be sweet for 16 and 17 most likely, unless you have like a ton of roosters or anything. But yeah, just target positions you need in round 18 or 19. Obviously, some of them aren't playing this week, like the Bulldogs and Manly, who a lot of people want, like, I don't know, Garrix, Kiraz, Preston. So it's a little bit hard to navigate that. But yeah, just have a list in mind, maybe like 3 to 5, and then just activate your loops before then. Most of us should have like 14, 15, 16 players this week, but we can only play 13. So make sure you set up your loops with the 3 teams that are playing beforehand. And then you can obviously target the players you need in round 18 and 19, but in those positions that you need them as well. So for me, I know in round 18, I need a half and either a centre or a winger fullback. And then in round 19, I'm pretty sweet for the moment, but potentially like an edge or a middle, depending on who backs up. But yeah, predominantly I need a half and then an outside back. So what I've done is I've looped Fletcher Sharp, and on him, I hope he doesn't play this week. Obviously, for his sake, I hope he's okay. But in fantasy, I am desperate for him not to play because it's going to invite even more chaos, and I'm totally set up for that, which is good. So yeah, but at the moment, I'm looping him because they play before the Rabbitohs, so that's chill. In centre, I'm looping Dylan Lucas because obviously he also plays beforehand and they're positions I need. So if one of these guys score badly, I can target someone in the winger, fullback or centre position that I want to pick up as like a long-term keeper in the event that one of these guys go poorly. And given they're like 90% owned as well, most people will be playing them. So if they score low, it's like a double benefit for me. And worst case, they score well and they just come straight in anyway, but at least I've got that flexibility. And if I do want to make a trade for Koloamatangi, it's for a position I need, and yeah, I miss out on a bad score. I'm going to be looping Hosking as well because they play in the first game, so Couchman comes straight in there. And then mids, I don't really have anyone. I obviously do have Tallis Duncan there, but also I'm going to loop Hosking and Duncan as well, just in general. But yeah, I don't really have anyone in mid that I can loop unless Haas doesn't play or something like that, but that's chill. I don't really need a mid at this stage, only for round 19. So, and even then if Haas plays, I don't need one. So that's how I'm going to navigate it. It's how I would recommend you guys navigate it. And then you see, like in all likelihood, you probably don't even need to pick up anyone this week, but yeah, I mean, you have the funds available with Koloamatangi if there's someone on the board you like Jerome Hughes. But yeah, if it turns out you want like a Preston or Kiraz, if your loop options score well, you actually don't need to pick up anyone this week, and that can wait till next week. So yeah, that's just a bit of advice for you. Hopefully that makes sense. Obviously, most people should be looping anyway in most rounds, like especially the major and minor buy rounds. But yeah, that is who I would be looping. I'd be looping guys that play before Koloamatangi, just so you have that flexibility with a trade. Yeah, so don't lock it in before the round. So don't do like a Koloamatangi to, I don't know, someone in the first game or the second game, unless you desperately want them. And that's fine. But for most circumstances, I would be doing that. Secondly, it's actually a really good opportunity to save some money. So obviously we do want our Haas's, Cleary's, Yo's back. And I'm assuming you've traded at least 1 or 2 of them by now. So I'd be looking to save some money. So I'll most likely be doing Koloamatangi to Hughes. And then I can always do like a Tamale up to someone else. But yeah, in all likelihood, I'll do Koloamatangi to Hughes. And then I'll have about 300k in the bank. I will do a Tamale to someone, but maybe next week or something. And then I have Savala. I can go down to a Latu Fainu at one stage as well. So I think coming into round maybe 18, 19, you want to have 300k in the bank. So then whoever's backing up, like I assume Cleary will back up in round 19. He's going to be 900k. So then you can go a straight swap from like a Cook to to Cleary if you need to, whereas if you don't have any money in the bank, you have to make a forced trade down to someone like a cash down or a really underpriced keeper, like someone if Kalen Pong was at 500k in that round. But yeah, I'd be setting yourself up where you can just do one trade up to someone like a mid-ranger who was good for buy rounds, who's not going to be an end-of-season keeper, straight up to like a Cleary, Haas, Yo. Because yeah, you do want the back in. Koloamatangi's probably back in round 20. You want have funds available for that. So you'll probably need, if you Haas misses round 20, so if you don't have him, you can probably wait till 21 for him. But you want Cleary back in round 19, probably Yo back in 20 because his minutes won't be 80 in round 19, and Koloamatangi in round 20 as well. So if you set yourself up with about 300k for round 19, but then you also need like 400 to 500k in the following rounds just to get up to those. And you can do a cash down, obviously, at that stage, but for the first one, I'd definitely have some money in the bank. So I think this is a really good opportunity to do it. Most of us should have almost a full team of keepers this round as well. So I've got, with Koloamatangi out, I've got 13 keepers, assuming Haas backs up. So Haas just switches in there. I left Koloamatangi up there deliberately just for visual purposes. But yeah, Haas moves up there. Then I've got 12 keepers because the blue represents keepers. And then the 13th player is Hosking. So he's almost keeper level scores, but I don't view him as an end of season keeper. But yeah, like I've got 12 out of 13 guys playing this week that are keepers. So most of us should be in similar circumstances. So you don't actually need to go up to a gun this round, and probably not even next round. It is a little bit like you do want better players for next round because we do have 17 players playing. But if you can get like an underpriced gun for Koloamatangi, I think you're going to be doing really well. We are going to have to pick up a few in the coming weeks just to navigate our teams because a lot of us are low on trades and there are heaps of underpriced guns available. Like obviously Jerome Hughes is the main one, and I think he'll be super highly picked up this week. Just straight swap for Koloamatangi, but he's 576k. He should be a keeper. You should be getting him in if you believe in him. Walsh is another one, 473k, obviously. Not this week, but Tommy Turbo, if you believe in him, at 400k, 398k. Like these are the guys you probably do need to take a flyer on just to save some money somewhere. So yeah, that's what I'd be doing. I think that was the only points I wanted to make in terms of Koloamatangi, but yeah, that's my plan anyway. Hopefully that all made sense. If you have any questions, just let me know. But yeah, I think he's a trade in most situations, and I'd be doing it for someone cheaper than him and looping before you lock anyone in. Yeah, in terms of my team setup, that's pretty much what I'm doing, as I mentioned, like with those loop options. So yeah, I do want Sharp not to play, and I do want a couple of these bigger, highly owned players to score poorly, and then I can go from there and make some mid-round trades. It is a little bit of a tough week to trade for me. I obviously want Jerome Hughes, so like a Koloamatangi to Hughes is such an easy one to make. But I can't really loop at half unless Sharp's out. So if Sharp's out, Campbell just goes into winger fullback, and I probably won't end up looping there. Maybe loop Drinky. But then I either have to play... Oh yeah, that's why I want Sharp out, because I can... Then I can loop in the halves. So yeah, then I can loop Savala or Hines or whoever I want, and then maybe bring in a Cartor or someone if I do want to lean that way. But sorry, actually I'm bringing in Hughes. But yeah, like I want Sharp out as a loop option. And then, because at this current stage, I can't do anything with Savala. Like I'm obviously not playing him over these two. And yeah, like he plays in the second last game, so that's tough. But I'm not going to sell him because his break even is a bit higher. Also, just quietly, break-evens are really high this week for some reason. I don't know why. It does depend on how players have scored in the previous rounds. But someone like what's his name? Bostock. Like he's coming off 103 and he's 400k. You'd think his break-even's like negative 15, negative 20, because I think he had a 40 beforehand as well. It's like 12, 14 even. Like that is crazy to me. Like, how is that so high? He's coming off a 40 and then 103. Obviously, a few lower scores in between that, but the -1s out of his system. Like, I know he made like 90k, but you'd think he would have a really low break even. Someone like Zavala has a 22 break even or something, and these are 22, and they're actually higher than that if you use this site, which they haven't been updated yet. But yeah, there's no real cheapies on the board this week, and Zavala does have a bit more money to make, but with a higher break even coming into this round, like he's only got, I don't know, like another 50K or so, assuming he only scores 40. So yeah, he's not a trade this week by any means. He is pumping up big scores, but he is going to be traded probably after round 18 if you can make it that far. But yeah, someone like him, I could easily look to navigate this round and sell him off if I need to a Latu Fainu, who will have similar-ish production and is so much cheaper that will enable me to get up to like a Cleary in round 19. And I think the earlier you can get these Origin guys that you've sold, the better. Because a lot of people aren't going to be able to afford it straight away. So I'd be absolutely planning for them now. And that's what I will be doing. So yeah, this round I'm pretty sweet. I want Jerome Hughes just because he does have a bit of a lower break even, and I think he's going to be a keeper level production. Don't necessarily need him this round. I probably won't even be able to loop him or take his score in any capacity. He does become valuable in round 17 where I can fuck one of these guys off the bench. Tallis Duncan also, he might move into the prop position for Koloamatangi. I don't think I love it. He doesn't have any data there. He's played lock. I think he's played 3 games at lock for like 45 minutes and an average of 32. So it's a bit concerning. If you haven't picked him up, I don't know if he's that appetizing this week, but we'll see what happens. It's obviously, this is all pre-Team List Tuesday. But yeah, so I think Hughes will be valuable this round. In round 17, but not so much this round. But I think it's just the week to get him because he is cheaper and we've got a pretty good trade target out to get him in. Round 18, obviously I need a half, so he comes straight in there. I don't really need a mid now because Hosking will come in there, Couchman up there, but I do need a centre or winger fullback. So I am targeting Kiraz, but with my plan to get in Cleary in round 19, I think I am just going to go Walsh and hope for the best. It is a little bit scary getting Walsh and Hughes in when they're both not performing to keep level, and I kind of need them to be. But I think worst case Walsh turns into a pretty good 18th, 19th man at end of year, assuming he's healthy and like averages 45-ish. So you can get away with it. I think we do need to get underpriced keepers in, and he's probably the one I'm going to take a gamble on. I do much prefer him to Tommy Turbo, just given the injury history. I think their scoring potential is pretty similar. Walsh is better with Ezra Mann back in the team. So yeah, I think he should be fine. Like, he's obviously got that -1, but his scores actually aren't that terrible apart from that. Like, obviously he hasn't had a good score until it's 54, but yeah, he hasn't been terrible. It's clear, like same as Tallis Duncan, there was reasons why they're not scoring well. It's pretty clear most of this stuff isn't going to continue, and his data's just so strong. He did look healthy in his first game, averaged 54 last year with like 2.8 in goals, so 51 is really good. 48 the year before with no goals, like 39, but that's a while back, and then 48. So yeah, pretty comfortable to make a move on him. He's priced at 35. I'd say worst case he averages 44, 45. So yeah, he's one I want to take a flyer on. I do want Kiraz in, but maybe he's someone I can loop in round 18 or something, like in my mid-round trades. So yeah, I think they're the two I'm targeting. I don't know if I go Walsh this week. What's his break even? Because his break even's 32, so it's probably about 35, 36. So I probably can wait a week on that and maybe go Tamale up to him next week and then, I don't know, loop him in. But yeah, like there's not too many options on the board. Latu Fainu is probably going to be an option. I don't know if he starts this week, but he's going to be a good cash down. But I think that's going to be a Savala cash down. So I'll easily have money available. I want to use round 18 as a big round to loop. I've done it in round 12, round 15, as you know. Well, most of you know, unless you're new around here and just listen to me absolutely waffle. If this is your first interaction with me, probably not the best one. So, hey guys. But yeah, like obviously I was looping pretty heavy in round 15, looped pretty heavy in round 12, and it worked out. But I'm hoping, it didn't work out because they all scored well. I was hoping they wouldn't score well. But I'm hoping something happens in round 18 where the loop options finally score terribly and I can target a mid-round move. So that's the plan. I just want to get up to 13 at this stage and then potentially use like 4 trades there. If my loop options are doing well, I could even target a Cleary in round 18 or something, but probably don't want to do it before Origin. So we'll see. I think for most teams, you probably should use just the one trade this week, Koloamatangi down. But if all your loop options do well, I'd probably just hold on to Koloamatangi this week, see what you can do next round, or it is purely going to depend on your loop options, but that's how I'd navigate it. Don't really know what I'm fucking talking about here. I'm just sort of going on a tangent, but yeah, round 17 is going to be a big one. That's when we start planning for round 18 if you haven't already. But yeah, again, like most of us should be pretty sweet. Just the trades are getting so low. But yeah, from fantasy perspective, I'm really happy with Koloamatangi getting injured. I'm just going to wrap this video up now. I'm literally just talking for the sake of talking. So yeah, hope you enjoyed whatever the hell that was, and we'll see you tomorrow for Teamless Tuesday, and then yeah, talk a bit more about potential buys this week. But yeah, we'll see you next time, guys. Bye.